want to welcome everybody to Tuesday, September 19th, to our regular town council meeting at 6:30. Ms. Evans, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Matt Finn.
Here.
Councilmember Jeremiah Barron.
Here.
Councilmember Denise Rogers.
Here.
Councilmember Terry Nolan.
Here.
Councilmember Amy Lance.
Here.
Vice Mayor Barry Thomas.
Here.
Mayor John Hughes.
Here.
And we're all here.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. Everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, everybody, the invocation.
Yes, we have on our list Susie Brandt for the invocation. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I should probably remove that.
Hi. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together tonight. We come before you to ask for your blessing on our town and its people. Please help our leaders to see what is best for the people of this town and give them the knowledge and wisdom they need to make good decisions. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Everybody may be seated. Council announcements about outside meetings and committees. I would just like to say that the Agua Fria Days was a great success for the Humboldt Historical Society. I think it was one of their biggest events so far. There was quite a few people there that enjoyed the day, and it was a great day for everybody, and the weather was beautiful. All right, Mr. Finn.
Oh, no, go ahead, Terry.
Mr. Nolan.
Yeah, I attended the festival, and after being there for all the festivals that they've had, this seems like being the best one that they have had, and they've had a lot of vendors, more so than last year or previous years, and it was just a good thing, and everybody had a good time, and I just was glad I was part of it. So.
Mr. Finn.
Yeah, same here. I attended, and the family attended. The kids had a great time, and it was good.
All right, Ms. Lance.
I don't know if everybody attended or anybody attended that's in the out there, but I have to give a shout out to the Young Marines. They were in attendance and they were fabulous. As well as everybody came up and commented on them to me, and I was like, wow, they were awesome. Thank you.
All right. Item 6, public comment on non-agendized items. The council wishes to hear from citizens at each meeting. Individuals may address the council on any issue within its jurisdiction. Council members are forbidden by Arizona open meeting law from answering your questions, discussing issues raised, or taking legal action on the matters raised during public comment. A 3-minute per speaker limit shall be imposed. Everyone should read the notation on the agenda, which more fully explains the law and the town's procedural rules for public comment. All right.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Nolan.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Barron, come out here. Mr. Barron's the one that instigated this thing about the special needs kids, and as representative of the Community Action Program, I want to present a check for $5,000 to Mr. Barron to get Humboldt Unified School District. So thank you very much. Come up here, Lee. Come on. You were just as much part of this as I was. So come on.
You're in trouble.
So can I be up now? I have my hand up.
Yes, you can.
Thank you, Terry, very much.
Lee Clough, Dewey Humboldt. I do want to thank everybody that's participated. There's lots of businesses in Prescott Valley. There's businesses in Dewey Humboldt, and there's individuals. And I just want to tell everybody thank you. hopefully the equipment will get here on time. If not, they'll be put in. But we're able to buy a bouncy bus. I don't know what it's called. It's a spring-loaded bus. And then there'll be two, a duck, a single one, and a frog. And then there'll be a xylophone outdoors, and there will be bongo drums, and there'll be 4 tables. And we need to thank Kip and Bruce. They went with me to Home Depot. Home Depot donated the stuff. They went and helped pick the wood out because they probably wouldn't have liked what I got. And they built them. I think Kip did most of the work, if I'm right. Awesome, awesome, awesome job. So we need to give a big shout out to them. There's a lot of volunteers in this community, and just grateful. So these kids aren't going to just have grass and sand. They are going to have a real playground. So it's still not too late if you want to donate. I'm the person to get the money to, or Jeremiah, and we will get it turned in. And these kids are going to have a lot to do. So thank you, everybody that's participated and helped.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Chisholm.
Jason Chisholm, Town of Dewey, Humboldt. Several weeks back, I mentioned about the community events going on, possibly having a light parade throughout the town. I have since reached out to Side by Side Addicts down the valley. They are booked out this year. However, they are willing to work with me to do a light parade to allow Jeeps, trucks, cars, side-by-sides, quads, whatever you want, basically, in a light parade to go. I would like to see it go both sides, up Newtown through the top of Blue Hills and all the way up Main Street, and go out the through Foothills and come back down River Road. So I've been looking at a map, and I've been working with Side by Side Addicts on this. So there's more to follow on that, but it takes a year out to book it. So if anybody has any ideas, please throw them my direction. I will be in touch with drawing a blank. Christy Bagwell. Thank you. It's been a long day. I'll be in touch with Christy Bagwell on that. But, if anybody's got any ideas throughout the community, I'd like them to reach out to me on that.
You might want to talk to her sooner than later because I think the Citizens Event Committee is planning on this year.
We can't get them in this year, but
No, the community.
No, I know, but that's why I'm looking at next year, because I tried to come in this year, and they're too booked up. They do events throughout the valley, and they're just too booked up for this year, but we're looking at possibly next year. So, thank you.
Come on up, Sue.
Hi, Sue Brandt, Humboldt. Okay, so we're going to read this, and it's for educational purposes only.
Can you read pretty loud?
I'm going to try. Last week, the topic of prayer and separation of church and state came up, and a few of us would like to respond. 1971, the legal case Lemon v. Kurtzman developed what has been called the Lemon Test. This legal case created the Lemon Test. This legal case that created the Lemon Test has been cited over 7,000 times in the last 50 years. And as a result, for many of us, our whole lives, we have seen attacks on nativity scenes at Christmas. Loud enough?
Yes.
The 10 Commandments on public buildings, prayers at school board, and other public meetings. If there's any religious activity out of school, it's like the school is on fire. Is it because any of these things are in the Constitution? In 1971, the same Supreme Court at the time said it is. We think this clause means more than that. They said, we think it means a strict separation of church and state, that wherever government is, religion can't be. We think it means that if you are offended by a religion, you can bring a lawsuit. And so the Lemon Test originated from a 1971 Supreme Court case, Lemon v. Kurtzman, was created. The Lemon Test, also known as the Lemon Standard, consists of 3 prongs that had to be satisfied for a government action to be considered constitutional under the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment to the United States Constitution. 1, the government action must have a secular, non-religious purpose. The primary effect of the government action must neither advance nor inhibit religion. The government action must not result in excessive entanglement between government and religion. But then something significant happened in 2015. The Lemon Test had a significant impact on all of us and our religious freedoms. Many of us had no idea what was happening. In 2015, you may have heard of the Coach Kennedy case. The coach was fired for praying after his games at Bremerton High School in Washington State. The case gained national attention because it raised questions about the intersection of religious freedom, freedom of speech, and public institutions. Kelly Shackelford of First Liberty Institute represented Coach Kennedy and took the case to the Supreme Court. Shackelford is the president and CEO of First Liberty Institute, the largest legal institution in the country and that strictly works with religious freedom cases. Thank you, Christy.
They won their case just last year, June 2022. Bremerton High School had to pay the coach nearly $2 million. Most of us heard about this, but few understood the major precedent that was reversed in this victory for the coach. This victory actually reversed the nearly 50-year-old Lemon Test. The Establishment Clause is a part of the First Amendment to the United States Constitution, which is part of the Bill of Rights. It states, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. It means that the government cannot establish an official state religion, nor can it favor one religion over another. It also prohibits the government from unduly interfering with an individual's right to practice their religion freely. Now that the Lemon Test has been removed, we are living in a new day. We are living in the freedom that the founders wrote about. The attorney Shackelford says, we have an establishment clause because our founders didn't want there to be a national church that everybody had to support. They did not want the government to run the church. You cannot bring lawsuits because you are offended only against religion. The clause was to keep the government from telling us how to pray. It wasn't written to tell us how and when to pray. Shackelford says, everywhere crosses went down, they came back up. Everywhere the 10 Commandments were put in the closet, they came back out. Prayers can be back at the school board and other public meetings. Students and coaches can pray together at their games. The problem is many people do not realize the significance of the Lemon Test or that it even existed. Where do we go from here? We hope to continue to bring our town's specific problems to him, asking for his help because much of it seems impossible. And we hope to continue thanking him as a town when he does indeed help us. Thank you all for your time and attention and for helping implement prayer in our town meetings. If anyone has questions, they can see our attorney. Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, Ms. Brooks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council, for letting me address you. My name is Karen Brooks. I'm from Humboldt. I've got several things. First off, this afternoon there were several cars driving around the smelter site today, and I was just wondering if there's going to be any report on that or what was happening, or if the town was aware of it, and if it was authorized. Even though it is private property and everything, I thought it was restricted. We certainly do not want the cap to be destroyed that we just had placed last year or year before. Secondly, I think we need to, even though it's early for the for the budget or anything, but I think we need to get to thinking about what are we going to do about a town hall. We're getting very, very close to over $1 million spent in rent. Rent. What do we have to show for it? Empty hole, empty pockets, and everything. We've increased our budget every year since this town has been in existence, since 2004 or 7 or whenever it was. And it seems like we have less and less to show for it. What are we going to be doing for, yes, we're doing some activities and everything, and I really think that people are doing an outstanding job. I would never want those to stop. But what permanent fixtures are we establishing in this town to show that we are advancing our town? We're taking up valuable commercial real estate here. How many people walk up this way looking in the windows, going in the shops and everything? They get to our government buildings and they turn around and leave town. I think it's beyond time to get off the stool and do something about it. So I think those are issues that we need to look at, and I think we need to acquire our own parks, and I think we should get a skate park, at least start one on one side of town until we can get, we can't even agree on one, let alone start several throughout different areas of town. I think that's a definite issue. Another suggestion would be for the town manager to hire temporary typists to catch up our minutes. I am not the only one that has complained about 39 different sets of minutes that's not typed up. Or more, I'm not sure how many. But anyway, if our staff does not have the time or the inability to get the minutes typed, let's hire some temps or something and get this knocked off. Get one thing completed. Thank you very much.
All right. Anybody else? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to item 7, town manager's report.
Mayor and council members, I'm glad that Mrs. Brooks brought up about the situation dealing with the Superfund site. In fact, ADEQ is going to be in the process of taking additional samples on behalf of the EPA. They're going to be taking samples from different areas within the town as well, along easements not easements, but roadways that we have. So that explains what has been happening. They're actually trying to supplement the information that they currently have. But also along the same lines, on October 10th, we are going to have on the agenda, and I believe it's a work session then, a meeting with our environmental consultants. We are going to request the General Plan Steering Committee as well as the Planning and Zoning Commission to be there. The presentation that's going to be made is going to be regarding the Superfund remediation project, the process that we're at right now, our progress with ADEQ, and the process of incorporating proposed changes and changes in our ordinances and development changes for consideration by the commission and the committees as it deals with impacted lands within the Superfund area. The intent is to ensure the protection of our town citizens and enable the impacted property owners, meaning people that currently own property within the, not within the site necessarily, but the outskirts that have been impacted or potentially impacted, an ability to develop their property. There's some empty lots, especially along Main Street. Also, they'll discuss potential reuse of the Iron King mine in Humboldt smelter. So that would be a joint meeting along the lines of knowing what we need to look at in putting in place institutional controls to ensure that any remediation they may do on top of the sites themselves is protected, as well as protecting the people down below in the area that may be impacted from the flying of dust and things like that, and how to develop your property in order to put in septic systems and what have you. So anyway, that's that would be scheduled for October 10th, and I'm trying to give enough timing so that people on the commission and committees can have time in order to appear. We are looking for also a location which would be able to be to allow enough people to sit down instead of having them stand outside because of the number of people on our committees and commission. That's all I have, Mayor.
All right, Ms. Lance.
Thank you. Mr. Field, I want to thank you and Ms. Brooks for bringing it up because it's been going on out there for about a week, I'm guessing, because I've been hearing about it. So I'm glad it's brought up. Are we going to be moving the meeting to and checking in with the school and getting it in a bigger facility because we're going to need more room?
Yes.
Back to Mrs. Brooks's, we need a new town hall. We need more space. So if we can get it at the school, that would be the best.
Yes, the concern that we had was with our Granicus and being able to televise it. But I think what we're going to have to do is set up a method that we used before. But since we have some time, we can see how it will work from the standpoint of the audio, because I believe the last time the audio was a problem.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Barron.
So the end of the year, isn't the EPA supposed to have a design in place or getting close to it?
No. What they're trying to shoot for is a record of decision. Once they have that, then they go into the engineering phase. And what we're trying to do is, while they're doing the engineering phase, they have what are called engineering controls. That's their design, how they're going to have it covered, how they're going to design the actual site. We're trying to put in place the institutional controls that deal with how you actually make sure that the future owners or developers are in compliance, don't damage the cap that would be put on, because frankly, we're going to be here forever, and the EPA is going to be gone at some point, and the ADEQ will not necessarily be here 24 hours a day monitoring.
Right. So the institutional controls, along with every other step that they're doing, isn't that nearing towards the end of the year when those things should be kind of in place?
Yes, the reason.
So why is it that this October, we have 2 months
Right.
after October to have institutional controls to benefit and help this community long term?
Right.
So why are we not having meetings to talk about and cover these institutional controls if we have pretty much until the end of the year to get that set in place?
Because you have to have a buy-in on those controls, not only from ADEQ but EPA as well. They're assisting us with it. ADEQ, we are at the point now that our next step is EPA.
Yeah, but
So-
should we not
Mr.
start
Mayor,
having a conversation in regards to that though sooner than later?
Yes, Mr. Sims.
Yes, I don't mind having a discussion regarding procedure. We're getting dangerously close to discussing substance. Councilmember Nolan has been very good in working with me to make sure we acknowledge possible, only I underscore possible conflicts of interest. I think it's appropriate to ask for schedule and procedure. We're getting a little close to substance, and Councilmember Nolan, you and I can talk about that.
It's actually Mr. Barron that was asking the questions.
Oh, I apologize. Never mind. I'm sorry. Bye.
Okay.
I'll let it slide this time, Bill.
Okay.
My whole point of the conversation is just I feel like we're getting a little bit towards the end of the candle wick here to be talking about something that probably should have been talked about a little bit ahead of time to start getting ideas rolling.
We
You know,
probably should have been starting to talk about it 8 to 10 months ago, and it's something that the EPA has briefly addressed, yet has not gone into details, and that's why what our people are doing is convincing each of the entities what can be done and what can't be done, and
Okay.
so. It's important now because, again, our general plan is an important document that's coming up, and it needs to be passed.
yeah, and they all kind of fall right in line
All
with each
together.
other. So
Yes.
my point is let's start utilizing time a lot more. Last meeting I talked about canceled meetings and yada yada yada. So just get the ball rolling instead of constantly being behind the 8 ball here. That's the whole point of it. So I'm good.
Right. Mr. Finn.
Oh, I know Kim's waiting.
I know.
Kim, we just have an order, and I apologize. I know.
All right. All right. So that's being done, Mr. Field. We're going to go on to item 8A, motions to approve minutes of August 8th, 2023 study session minutes. Okay, Mr. Finn.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of August 8th study session meeting.
Second.
Motion been made by Mr. Finn, seconded by Mr. Thomas. Ms. Evans, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Finn.
Yes.
Councilmember Barron.
Yes.
Councilmember Rogers.
Yep.
Councilmember Nolan.
Yes.
Councilmember Lance.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Thomas.
Yes.
Mayor Hughes.
Yes.
That passed 7-0.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. All right, moving on to item 9A, discussion presentation of the 2022 Volunteer of the Year Award to Kim Floyd. Kim's counterparts sent a letter in, and I'm going to read the letter because she was so excited that we had her be the Volunteer of the Year. It says, good morning. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce myself. I work as a senior account manager for Vitalant. I have worked with Kim Floyd since May of 2019. I am so excited that Kim is going to be recognized as the Dewey Humboldt Volunteer of the Year. Kim is most deserving of this recognition. Kim emailed me in May of 2019, had noticed that we did not have a volunteer blood drive coordinator at that time for the Dewey Humboldt Community Blood Drive. Kim asked if she could serve as the role as a volunteer blood drive coordinator. Kim truly exemplifies the power of one individual to make a difference in the world as the lives of others. Kim stepped into the volunteer role, and through her service, she has transformed many, many lives. Kim goes out of her way to recognize the donors at the Dewey Humboldt Community Blood Drive. In May of 2022, Kim was awarded the Impact Award from Vitalant. This award was presented to Kim at an award ceremony in Phoenix. This award was presented to Kim for her dedicated service as a blood drive coordinator for the Dewey Humboldt Community Blood Drive and the impact that she makes in the lives of others. In 2022, there were 114 blood donations at the 4 Dewey Humboldt Community Blood Drives. The lives of 328 patients in need could be impacted by those blood donations. Each year, the Dewey Humboldt Community Blood Drive continues to grow. We simply cannot begin to express our appreciation to Kim for her tireless service on behalf of Arizona patients in need. I had hoped to attend the award ceremony that you are holding on September 19th. My schedule does not allow to attend the event as I will be out of town. I am hoping that you will express my appreciation and Vitalant's appreciation for the impact that Kim has made in serving our life-saving mission to Arizona patients in need. Thank you for all you do. We so greatly appreciate the Dewey Humboldt community. Signed, Lori Boone Hiller.
you go up to the podium, everybody listening can
Say,
hear
yeah,
that.
say it one more time so everybody can hear it, please, Kim.
Like this way or this way?
Yep, right into the mic here on the podium.
Yeah.
November 23rd, 1:30 to 6 o'clock, Humboldt Bible Church. Be there, be square.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So every year the town of Dewey Humboldt honors the volunteers who give selflessly to the better our community. Please join us in celebration this year. Nominee Kim Floyd. Kim, come on up. There's a plaque,
That's
and that'll
awesome.
go in the office here. So yes. That's gonna come and we're gonna give you a certificate here.
Oh my gosh. Thank you guys. That's awesome. It's beautiful.
And Kim, we're gonna do some other presentations if you have to go. We understand? Okay, all right. So please join us in celebrating this year's honorary nominees, or actually other volunteers for the year of our town. All right. I'd like to present some other recognitions to Terry Nolan. The General Plan Steering Committee members, Charlotte Mortimer. Yeah, we're getting to them all. Everybody gets one.
Everybody gets
their
one.
own.
Wow, very cool. Here, yeah, let's just have everybody that's here
Can
come
we
up.
restage everything?
So shy.
Sue, come on up. Christy, come on up.
I got her not smiling, but that's okay.
Yes, I will. I said, yeah. So I'm gonna read the rest of the names off and then we'll give these ladies a round of applause. So Michael Orbran, Greg Ostro, Christopher Baker, Judy Kerber, Mel Kunel, William Lacey, Christy Bagwell, and Sue Brandt.
Did you want to do Terry again?
Their contributions and a time of hard work do not go unrecognized by the town. Thank you all of the volunteers that do so much for our community. We are truly appreciative of everything that you guys do. One more round of applause for them. All right. Now, nine B, discuss some possible action on the second public hearing of ordinance 23-196 to the town code, Title 3, entitled Administration, Chapter 31, Section 31.21, to reduce the number of seats Planning and Zoning Advisory Commission, P&Z, from 9 members to 7 members, as per recommended from the P&Z. Mr. Field.
Yes, Mayor and Council. This is the, I believe, the second reading.
Yes.
And it's a change of our ordinance, changing the number of members of the Planning and Zoning Commission from 9 to 7. And it was recommended by the Planning and Zoning Commission itself. And it's before you today for approval.
All right. Mr. Finn,
Yes, I make a motion to approve the change for chapter 31, section 31.21 in our ordinance, and change from 9 members to 7.
Second.
all right, motion been made by Mr. Finn, seconded by Ms. Lance. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none. Ms. Evans, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Finn,
Yes.
Councilmember Barron,
Yes.
Councilmember Rogers,
Yes.
Councilmember Nolan,
Yes.
Councilmember Lance,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Thomas,
Yes.
Mayor Hughes,
Yes.
and that passed 7-0.
All right, thank you, Ms. Evans. All right, moving on, 9C. Interview of Jason Chisholm and Lynn Collins and possible appointment to the Planning and Zoning Commission to fill one vacancy. Mr. Finn.
Yeah, before we get started on this, I'd like to make a couple statements to the public and kind of explain where we're at with the situation. Recently, we went through an interview process with several candidates, and when we did that, my top 2 picks was Jason Chisholm and Lynn Collins. And now we have a vacancy again, and a lot of these people have fallen out. And the 2 applicants this round is Jason Chisholm and Lynn Collins. As it's obvious, there's a divide in this community between people, and I've been labeled as the hinge point to such a matter here, so I like both of them, and I'm not trying to pick sides here. What I'm faced with right now, today, I received several letters of complaint about Mr. Chisholm, and those went to our attorney, and he has concern over this issue. He has asked to speak to Mr. Chisholm, and it would be my recommendation that we table this until Bill Sims further investigates what he needs to.
Okay,
I'll second that motion.
all right. Motion been made by Mr. Finn, seconded by Mr. Nolan.
I had my flag up
Aye.
before the motion was made.
Okay, but Mr. Barron, go ahead.
So, I got several concerns with this. How do you know about this before, at least, I don't know if everybody else on this does, but I had no idea about Bill getting information and then this
You're
being
on
taped.
emails.
I was quiet when you were talking, so I expect the same respect
Okay, I
from
thought
you.
it was a question, sorry.
Well, it could be a question, but I'm not done speaking.
Okay.
So when I'm done speaking, you can respond if you'd
Okay.
like. So my concern is, how do you have this information that Bill had information from? We all got the emails. That's not the problem. The problem is, how do you have information that the attorney has that wasn't given to everybody else in order for this to be tabled?
Mayor, could I jump in, Mr. Mayor?
At this point, Bill, can I answer that?
No, I'd like to answer it.
Okay.
I'm not there, and with the mayor's and manager's permission, I was able not to drive up. I'm actually fly fishing with some Air Force veterans of 50 years ago. I had a call from a counselor today. I have not received the emails that I've now received, and noted that there was a concern that Councilmember Finn had articulated a position before completing the interviews. And this counselor was wondering if indeed there would be the opportunity for having this continued. I called I informed this counselor, and I then called Councilmember Finn, and I said, this needs to get addressed. And so he said that he'd be, and this is the first time, Jeremiah, I just saw these the same time you did. And rather than have a decision made, accusing one counselor of making a decision without having the opportunity to ask questions, that let me look at these and find out, and I can report back. There was nothing untoward. In fact, I was trying to solve this problem, and rather than have to and the one counselor was wondering if there would be a motion. There could be a motion to continue, and so I phoned, and I was hopeful this would resolve it.
So is it illegal or not illegal for a council member to make his position known before interviews are ever on the table of where his position is going to be held with a candidate?
The question is, I was told that he made comments about supporting, acknowledging the candidate's dedication to coming to meetings. I did not know about these other accusations, and I didn't know if the counselor knew of it. And so, rather than rush into this tonight, I thought we could try to discuss it this way. I see nothing untoward about it at all. I think now is the time to try to figure out what the facts are, and then let council make a decision.
So the facts are that a council member has made a decision and made that position known to members of the committee and members of this council way before this interview process was ever taken place. So my question is that illegal, improper, or perfectly okay to do? Because we keep having different scenarios regarding Councilmember Finn interjecting positions and opinions on stuff that raises questions from the past. So if this is allowed to happen continuously, then we need to know, and that way the appropriate behavior can continue or the inappropriate behavior needs to stop. So is it inappropriate for a council member to make his position known before an interview process has taken place to other committee members that sit on the plan and zoning, and also to council members that are sitting council members right now? Because the last time I checked, I heard the answer was yes, and it is not allowed, and it is illegal. So my question to you, Bill, is that correct or is that not?
I think we dispute the facts. I was told the comment was made he could support. I was not told that he would unequivocally vote for. But we're trying to find time to get the facts so a decision can be made objectively in front of the public. I was told the comment was he could support. I think he maybe could support both. But now I'm aware of new facts, and I'm trying to uncover them so that you all can make a decision. Okay. I'm not told that he made an I'm not told he made an unequivocal promise to vote for anything. I think the answer will be the information will come before the council, and the council will make a decision.
Okay, so the comment that I heard, which raises the major concern moving forward, was I gave my word to Jason Chisholm that I would vote for him for the Plan and Zoning Commission. I am not going to back out because my word is my bond and not vote for him. That was told to me weeks ago in regards to this, and I have been bombarded by concerns over this for weeks now in regards to the same comment that has been portrayed to other people in this community. So my question is that not illegal to have done?
I don't know if that was true. Once I find out if it was true, I can then give you an opinion. I don't think this is an appropriate forum to try to figure out those facts. You may have heard one thing, others may have heard another. Now is the time. There's a motion to continue so that we can try to answer your question.
If I may, Bill?
Yes, sir.
This is from the past interviews that just took place. These are the same two candidates that I personally chose from before. I don't see any difference here.
So I'm going to pull my flag down, and then you can have the floor, Amy. But I would like, there's several members here in this audience that have heard almost the same thing that I've heard. I would ask that we give those people the time on the floor to make their comments known publicly to the attorney that they heard from someone's mouth, not from mine, on a different scale. This has all been done at different times, and it's all coming to the same point. So,
Okay.
Ms. Lance.
Just for the record, I'm the one that contacted the attorney, and I contacted him in regards to
I got that thing.
the safety of our community, because there is one of the applicants that has made death threats, and it's on record and has police reports, and my concern was the safety of our committees and our community. That was the initiation of the call, and I'm sorry if you don't like it, but I'm concerned about my community. That's what the phone call was about. Yes, we got into the other discussion of him making a comment of definitely voting for Jason Chisholm and no other, but it was a concern for the community, and that's why I reached out to the attorney today. That's why nobody else knew about it, because I contacted him.
And it was about 5 o'clock or?
About, I don't know, about 4:30, when I read all my emails from the community with their concerns, and they are not comfortable getting up and speaking in public about it because they are concerned for their safety.
All right, Mr. Finn.
Yeah, I'd like to point out I'm 1 vote out of 7 here, and the intention of trying to bridge a gap, but I see that the finger's pointed at me when it's 1 vote. So does that mean that someone else assumes other votes?
All right. Mr. Barron.
So your 1 vote, though, guaranteed to somebody, a candidate's ear, that you were voting for them. So I don't know if everybody else made that same commitment to an individual that was an applicant or not.
I think it's the same guy I voted for last time, and nobody had a problem with it.
But the position was you made that publicly.
Of course I did. I voted for him last time.
Yeah, and then you went behind and said
Okay.
a different position behind closed doors. So
There's a motion on the floor, and I would like to hear from the people that sent their letters in. Please come up so everybody at home could hear what you had to say too, please.
Even though I just said they sent their emails because they were concerned for their safety.
Oh, okay, then you don't have
Well, I
to.
hear-
I was just going off of what Mr. Barron wanted to express too, so that's fine. If they don't want to speak, they don't have to speak. Mr. Barron.
my thing is, if somebody wants to stand up and speak and voice their concerns about it publicly, absolutely go ahead. Whether you sent a letter, whether you didn't send a letter, if you heard a conversation on the phone, a commitment to somebody, stand up and speak. If you don't want to, don't put yourselves in harm's danger. There's no problem. Just stay in your comfort zone. There's no problem there at all.
Nell Carl Smith, Dewey Humboldt, and also planning and zoning. I do have a big concern about it. Jason, I respect you, but I've seen you multiple times fly out of here in a rage. And I'm
Gotta
addressing
face the
you,
microphone, please.
I'm addressing you as a colleague. If you end up on this committee, I'm willing to work with you. But here's my concern. I have a lot of people that are on this committee that have construction backgrounds, and I appreciate the knowledge that they have. I have a real concern with people on this board that I'm talking to who have personal grievances against somebody who is very capable of participating on a committee that can be very productive. And your personal feelings against this person, it's like she's being pushed aside. But she has a talent, she has the ability and knowledge to bring to the committee, and that's what I'm looking forward to. That's what I would like to work with. I don't mind working with Jason, but I have an issue with the rage that I've experienced just as a witness. I don't come to these meetings very often because I'm scared. Okay, I don't know. I understand he's served our country, and that I have a lot of respect for people that have served our country. I've had a sister who was a lieutenant colonel in the Army. She sat there for 30 years and busting her butt. So, Mr. Chisholm, I understand. I understand where he comes from. I understand what he suffers from because he served our country. So if it's a matter of experience, if it's a matter of being productive, if it's a matter of making changes happen, then I need somebody that has that experience. And Lynn Collins has that experience. And I need that experience. So out of respect for everyone in this room, including Mr. Chisholm, I have a lot of respect for you. And it takes a lot of guts for me to stand up here and talk to you like this. So I hope you see the respect that I'm giving you. I have nothing personally against you, but I do have a big group of people who come together, and Ms. Collins has a lot of experience that we desperately need. So I'm hoping that you all take that into consideration. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Nell.
All right, Mr. Chisholm.
Thank you, Councilor, Mayor Dewey Humboldt, citizens of Dewey Humboldt. I served 7 years, 9 months, and 18 days honorably in the United States Army. I have a lot of combat experience. I have a lot of combat trauma. I have been in therapy for combat trauma since 2014. That therapy has been at the Vet Center. I recently went through a divorce. I am a changed man. I found God. I went to church. I've been saved. I am a changed man. I have put all the past behind me. I'm not going to make the same mistakes that I may have made in the past. In regards to the police report, if anybody has a question about that, I would like them to reach out to Lieutenant Frank Barbaro of the Yavapai County Sheriff's Department. They followed up with me following that incident. It was where I was actually cornered. I was accosted, for that matter. And Mr. Barry Thomas was an eyewitness to the whole thing. He was at the car accident scene on that Easter Sunday when 4 lives were tragically changed. I was accosted at that situation. I was attacked verbally. And I was cornered, and I was put in a situation called fight or flight. As a combat veteran, I chose to fight. Okay? I've talked to my counselor about it since then. I'm hereby swearing under oath that I am a changed man. I will not make the same mistake that I made before. I have since tried to apologize to that individual, and she has denied my apology. Instead, she has gone behind my back and talked crap about me. And I don't appreciate it. And I have several citizens of the community that will attest to that. And if this has to go in front of a court for defamation of character, I am willing wholeheartedly to press charges on those that are defaming my character. I am a United States citizen. I am a United States Army veteran. I'm a proud citizen of this community that has lived here since 1989, and I grew up in this community. I enlisted in the armed forces out of this community. So, Mr. Nolan's known me since I was a kid. Mr. Hughes has known me since I was a kid. Mr. Thomas has known me since I was a kid. Matt Finn has begun to know me. Jeremiah, you've begun to know me. We've had conversations. Mr. Mortimer and I have had several conversations. All of us have differences in this community, but you know what? We can all come together for the greater good. Miss Lance and I have had a past, and we have since had good conversations recently. Miss Denise Rogers, I haven't had very much interaction with you, but the interaction I have had with you has been very positive. So you know what? I do come before the stand here to defend myself because I have been accused of something. So thank you for your time.
All right, yes, come on up.
Steve Germain, Dewey Humboldt. I've been here almost 2 years now. And one of the first things my wife stopped doing was coming to these meetings. She watched Jason Chisholm attack Miss Collins while she was sitting up here. He could have just might as well called her every name in the book. I think Jason has changed over the last little bit. I've seen him calm down. but he has no right to attack a woman like that. Give me a break. If I'm going to attack you guys, I'm going to attack all of you individually, right here, like I did the last time about what went on in the last meeting. I picked on everybody equally. If I would have been Miss Collins up here, I would have been in fear of what Jason Chisholm was doing to this lady upon her job. I just, to me, that's kind of unforgivable. Sure, a couple months have gone by, and maybe that was just wrong. My wife doesn't come to these meetings anymore because of that. She's waiting for him to fly off the handle. And if he's going to counseling, I've been to church. I've been to church. I've been to church too, a whole bunch of times. Have you been there a whole bunch of times? Or have you just been to church? You know, Miss Collins, I could see the fear in her eyes. And I didn't think that was appropriate. The things I've heard come out of Miss Collins' mouth were intelligent. She's got a memory. She investigates. She checks things out before she opens her mouth. Mr. Chisholm does not check anything out. He does not look into anything. He opens his mouth and attacks people. That's what I saw. I'm a grown guy. I can defend myself. If you want to attack me, that's okay. But I don't think you should be attacking any of these women or anybody weaker than what you are for any reason whatsoever. That was wrong. He owes her more than an apology. He owes everybody here an apology. And maybe he can try for this again next year or the year after or the year after. There's no room for somebody that's going to threaten an innocent woman up here on this thing. That's wrong. Come on. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Knott.
Good evening, town and council. I come to you tonight as a request of the town community. They asked if I would say on the town's behalf, due to fear and reprisal from the council and town folks, for the following, for town folks. I also agree with all who contacted me with we the people ask that Lynn Collins be placed. She has demonstrated knowledge, commitment, and dedication for what we the people want. And for the reason why I stand here saying this to the council members is to have it on town record because the people are too afraid to bring it to your attention, with the exception of the few people in this room. There are numerous emails received today on this issue, and they want it to be heard besides emailing the council. The town folk has a firm belief what three members will do because of personal discontentment or personal agendas, not town values. So I, Bobby of Blue Hills, call you out. Show where your true colors lie, in yourself or in what your community who voted you in and or placed by council members want. And there's council members up here know in the past where I waited because I happened to live in the same community as Lynn Collins and Lee Clough, and I waited till after the meetings and drove them home and escorted them home because they were in fear of reprisal from certain town council members and certain community members. But I'm not afraid. You can tell me right now to my face and I'll answer you back. There's no qualms about that. But this needs to be addressed. It needs to be followed through. People have a past. They need to be forgiven. But you know, you got to also pay your penance for what you've done. I don't come up here and chastise people and call them out unless it's the truth. And I'll stand here and take it toe to toe, truth for a lie. I appreciate your time and your efforts in this. And council, have a good evening. And town, have a good evening.
All right, Ms. Clough.
Lee Clough, Dewey Humboldt. Okay, I stand here in fear. I have been threatened before, and I have a reason to be afraid of somebody on the council and people in this audience. However, Jason, I do love you because you're a child of God. I understand you have issues, and I know you were talking about the wreck, But that's not what people were talking about. The police report is when you threatened to put a bullet in Gary Mortimer. I have a copy of that police report. That has caused people to be frightened. I understand PTSD. I live with a Vietnam vet for 47 years, and I know your heart is intent on you will never blow up again. So is his. I have PTSD, and I swear I'm never going to blow up again, and it still happens. I have to run. I've learned how to keep my mouth shut and not threaten people, but I have to run. Or I freeze and don't say anything. I do believe people have the opportunity to change, and they do. Personally, I hope the town manager finds something that Jason can do, maybe one-on-one. I've watched my husband over the years, and I've watched Jason, and it takes a lot of years to get where you can deal with a lot of people. Because of the violence and crap that has happened in here, my husband doesn't come anymore because he knows what he will blow up because of the crud. And he's been very upset with some of the things that have happened to myself. This frightens me to say it, but Jason, 3 or 4 weeks ago, I asked you before the meeting how you were doing because you looked so happy, and I was so happy for you. And you said, I went postal today. That scared me to death. Going postal, to me, that message means when you see post office people lose their cool and shoot someone. So that scared me, Jason. I know you're really working hard and you're really trying to change, and I admire you for that. That is hard work, but I am concerned being in a group of people. And I thank you for the friendship that you've given me the last few months and supporting me when people have cornered me. I am truly grateful for that. But I really hope you guys are listening from somebody who's had experience, 47 years of this. Please find him something one-on-one and let him build his confidence. Don't set him up for failure. I'm pleading with you. Thank you.
Ms. Brandt.
Sue Brandt, Humboldt. I'm not going to pick on Jason. What I'm going to say is Lynn has been treated unfairly by some of you, and it's time to let that go and put the woman where she belongs. We need her. And I do like Lee's idea of giving Jason a one-on-one position where he can help out. Thank you.
Chair, I'd like to call a question.
Okay. Okay, call the question. So
Mr. Mayor,
yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to raise 3 points.
Okay.
I've observed since I became your town attorney in March, a move towards finding consensus and finding agreement and trying to address town problems. In the course of the last 35 minutes, I've heard one counselor accuse another counselor of taking an illegal act. I've heard persons threaten to bring a lawsuit of defamation. I've heard concerns about discrimination arising out of what might be a disability. I think it'd be premature to make any decision tonight. I think a motion to table is a wise motion to try to figure out the next step. To answer Councilmember Barron's questions, I don't know what was said by Councilmember Fenn. But if he'd already voted for him once, I think it may have been, he just says, I could vote for him again. But I don't know what was said. I've heard some strong emotions tonight, but I've also heard some serious allegations of misconduct on all sides. I've heard challenges of discrimination against a disability. And I don't think you as a town want to do that. So I think tabling this and trying to figure out a solution is the best alternative.
All right. There was a call to question, so we are on that motion right now. I can't say it. No, because we call a question. It's done. Unless it's about the motion.
That for women. Headaches, that's fine.
Okay. So we are on the motion to table this. So, Ms. Evans, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Finn.
Yes.
Councilmember Barron.
No.
Councilmember Rogers.
The motion
Table-
is
to
to
table,
table?
yes.
Yes.
Councilmember Nolan.
Yes.
Councilmember Lance.
No.
Vice Mayor Thomas.
Yes.
Mayor Hughes.
Yes.
Okay, that passed 5-2.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Evans. Okay.
Can I say one thing? Jason, if I could speak to you after the meeting, because I want to talk to you about your defamation accusation. It's unfounded. I want to talk to you about it.
9D, discuss and possible action on purchase.
Wait a minute, we gotta vote on Mr. Finn's motion.
We did.
We voted on,
No, he skipped over the call to question. We didn't take a vote on that.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
You're okay.
Call the question. Vote on the call the question, and we'll go back to the other one.
we'll go
Okay.
back to the next motion.
I'll second the call to question.
So we revote?
Yes.
All
We're
right.
voting on the call to question now.
We're voting on call to question. Okay, Councilmember Finn.
Yes.
Councilmember Barron.
No.
Councilmember Rogers.
That means hear this again?
Yes.
Yes.
Councilmember Nolan.
Yes.
Councilmember Lance.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Thomas.
Yeah.
Mayor Hughes.
Yes.
So that passed 6-1.
All right. Okay. Now we want to do the other vote again.
So will we do the vote?
Yep. For the motion.
Councilmember Finn.
I know, but we had to do the call
You
to question
seconded
first.
it.
I second.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So Councilmember Finn.
Yes.
Councilmember Barron.
No.
Councilmember Rogers.
Yes.
Councilmember Nolan.
Yes.
Councilmember Lance.
No.
Vice Mayor Thomas. And Mayor Hughes.
Yes.
Okay, that passed 5-2.
Make it wash away like it doesn't happen, right?
Next item.
9D, discuss and possible action on purchasing and possible location of cargo containers for the town use. Mr. Field.
Yes, Mayor and Council. This is on the agenda because of the fact that the Special Events Committee has brought forth a position that they do need a place to store items, especially for future events, things such as awnings, tilt-ups, those type of things, tables. And this particular bid is a local business, and the price for what is a good quality
Nice catch.
a good quality container is in what they're bidding is a good price. When we compared it to the containers that were at the border, those were containers that were rated as C and D, which means that they had holes, they were dented, or their floor would have holes in them. These are actually in excellent condition. And so, again, this is just on the agenda to see if the council desires to purchase two of these items, containers at that price, or if, or also to discuss where we can place these containers. We've had several people from the public offer placement of the containers at their homes. And so, again, that's what's up before you to take a look at.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Field. Mr. Barron.
So, just curiosity strikes me here. So, you said this is for the event committee?
That they said they wanted to have containers.
Okay, so then this piece of paper right here, that is not obviously given to the public, why is it say Matt Finn's name on there instead of how many council members are sitting on this event committee? Or the staff members that could have done something? Why is there a name that that doesn't present itself? And I got some other questions about the conditioning and where these containers are and yada yada yada. So
Well, again, the event committee wanted to have these. I checked to see what they were at, the amounts in what type of condition they were in with the state. It was not in a good enough condition for the amount that they were asking. This is a very good price. I know that recently Matt went to them and was buying for himself as well. And he showed me what the costs were. And that's the only reason why you see this at this point. So, again, this is a good amount. That's why I placed it on the agenda for you to look at. And it's similar to going out and, getting a bid anywhere else. I did not get a bid because the price of what you guys did tell me to go and look at did not fit the condition those things were in. This is a good bid.
okay,
It's a good amount.
so then the questions I have about it, should I relay them to you or should I just skip the middleman? And does Matt have the information that could answer the questions?
Well, you can skip the middleman and ask the questions.
Okay, so where are these containers coming from?
This guy is local right here in Dewey. He has a yard over by the Kachina post office. I don't think all his containers are there right now, but he does have some there. This is not on the agenda because you yourself amended the agenda once already. This bid didn't come in until Monday morning. I don't think that anybody wanted another amended agenda.
Okay. So the amended agenda, it shouldn't have been amended, first of all, because I asked for that to be put on there two different occasions. So when the agenda came out and I didn't see something that needed to be talked about twice, I said, hey, what's the deal here? So I didn't ask for the amended agenda. I just asked for an item to be placed on the regular agenda, which it was not.
Gotcha.
So that's where that amendment came from.
Well, I knew this was coming because I asked for it. That's why it has my name on it, because I told him that the town was interested in that. Can you send me a quote for two of them? And he did.
So we don't know the grade of these ones?
These are, it says right there, WWT, that's wind and weather tight. It's a high cube, that's the HC, it's 40 foot. And according to his ads, he gives a 3-year guarantee on them to be wind and water tight. So WWT is the grade.
Okay.
And I guess to let everyone know, I do apologize this is not out there, but what this gentleman has is $3,254 for a 40-foot high cube container, and it's an $875 delivery fee, which when you add that up, it's $4,129 delivered. That's a really good deal. He was unsure if the town would be subject to TPT. That is why he split the difference between the container and the delivery, so you would not pay sales tax on the delivery charge. You would only pay it on the container itself, which helps lower it by having that split. But $4,129 delivered, and he said he would do it COD. He would collect on delivery, no deposit. He would show up, put them in place, and then get a check from the town, which sounds like a smoking deal for me. The last 20-footer I bought, I paid $3,700, which at the time was a really good deal, and I had to pay a tow truck to move it.
How much was that?
Which, I'm sorry. I'll answer the question.
Steve Germain, Dewey Humboldt, how much was that delivery?
The delivery, it was $275 right here in town.
$275, and this guy's right here in town, and wants to charge us $800.
Well, I think what you're misunderstanding is that he wants to charge $4,129 for the container delivered total price. If you put more on the service, it's not subjected to sales tax. So if you put it all on the container instead the delivery was free, you'd pay sales tax on $4,129.
Actually,
So,
Steel container?
yeah, typical cargo container.
Regular cargo container
Yeah,
on
high
wheels.
cube.
So it's on wheels.
No, it's a shipping container.
So there are no wheels.
No, they're the
containers.
I'm
don't
just
have-
asking because I see a lot of things that go on, and I'm interested because I do a lot of work. I picked up 2 containers for $1,000 a piece. They're on steel wheels. I can hook them to my backhoe and drag them around my property anywhere I want. They were only 16 foot by 8 foot, but they were only $1,000, and they are weatherproof. They are insulated, which was a really, really good deal. And the delivery was nowhere near that. But I see the point of trying to get rid of the taxes on it. I get that. But you know, there's people right here in the audience that are pretty savvy too. So instead of everybody kind of holding their cards so close to their chest on certain things, maybe we could open up them cards a little bit so everybody could see them. It would be a little more, because just here talking, you're going, well, it's this and this, but we didn't hear no price, we didn't see no size, we don't know what it's made out of, is it on wheels? You know, all of us are pretty much middle-aged people that can take a punch in the nose if we have to. You know, I guess if I'm going to be 128 years old, that would be middle-aged, but I wanted to know because there's a lot of things that come up that I run into that the town could benefit from, but by the time you chase somebody's tail, it's going to be gone.
Right.
So-
I agree. And I was looking, I saw the ad, I said, wow, that's a good deal. The town's interested, send a bid.
For a 40-foot container for $4,000, that really is a pretty good price.
That's a pretty good price. So, I mean, this isn't me making a decision. This is the council said they'd be interested in it. And Dan put it on the agenda.
Yeah, I didn't attack you on
Okay.
making a decision.
Not you.
I would attack you on something else, you know, but
Yeah.
not that. Thank you.
All right, Miss Lance.
I just have a few questions for the town manager. I think when we talked about where does our public works have a place? And do they need storage too? And that's where that whole conversation, we said we did need some storage space for the Citizens Events Committee, you know, because we hope to be building some things that we can reuse every year. But do we know where we're going to be putting public works still at this point?
No, we don't, and actually, they should be the priority of,
And have we gotten the testing back from that property that they're on now?
I have not seen it yet, so I need to find out.
Thanks.
All right. Is your, okay.
Jeremiah.
Mr., no, is it back up again?
It's back up
Okay.
again, yeah.
All right. And then, go ahead, Mr. Thompson, back to you, Baron.
Just a couple quick questions. Do we have over 5,000 square feet worth of stuff that needs a home to be stored currently?
Just,
Two containers, I'm just wondering, do we
Yeah,
have
not-
stuff?
not necessarily
We don't
for
have the stuff to
containers.
put in these containers at this time. We just-
Right.
this-
Right.
And
You know-
this bid was intended for us, but done to you. Is that?
Correct, yes. That's why it has the address of the town. And it went to my town.
So they're aware that this price was to be given to the town.
Correct, to the council.
All right, that's all I want to know. I just was wondering where all this stuff is that we need to store.
All right, Mr. Barron.
Well, I guess I'll derail my first question and address the one that was just asked. The town hasn't had stuff because the town hasn't done anything in the past for this community. So we recently are starting to actually do stuff for the community, which means collecting and acquiring items to benefit this town. So now you have to have an area to store the stuff. Before, there was nothing and it wasn't needed.
Are you talking
But-
to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to
I'm
you.
an adult. Don't talk to me like a child.
Hey, it's enough.
Excuse me, I waited my turn until you were done. You need to quit acting like a baby
Hey.
and throwing a little temper tantrum
Enough calling
over
names
stuff.
too.
You asked a question, I'm answering it, okay?
I asked the town manager a question, not you.
And I'm addressing your question because you're asking it in regards to a committee that I'm a part of. So I'm making it clear because the answer wasn't given correctly. Okay? So I'm making sure that you have proper knowledge in regards to what stuff and where it needs to be stored at. There's no stuff.
Hey, enough, enough.
You said, do we have the stuff?
Will you answer the question?
I am.
Okay, just answer it though. Just answer the question.
The question, the answer to the question is, there's not stuff right now, but the town is potentially going to acquire stuff and needs a place to put it. Listen, I can interrupt you all day long too, and I don't. So I ask you to please hold the same respect for me that I am for you. If you want to play this game, I can play the same thing to you when you ask a question and interject all the time on you. But I don't. I sit here quietly like an adult and wait until it's my turn. And I expect the same out of you. If you don't, you can be where you were the last few meetings and be gone. Or you can sit here quietly like everybody else and please show respect. So the answer.
I'm waiting for you both to quit doing your shit.
I'm not doing anything
I
except
know.
trying to answer a question without interruption, John.
I understand that. Answer the question, please.
I did.
Okay, so
So-
we're done with that question, right?
The first one to him. Okay, so the town needs to acquire stuff. This is going to hold it. Okay?
Perfect.
The next question is, I understand it's wind, watertight situation like that, Matt, but there's still grades of Connex boxes to protect it. And I guess my hiccup on it is wind, watertight, they've got 2 grades down at the border. Is this guy getting one at the border and bringing it up and classifying it as,
He's calling them cargo-worthy wind and water.
kind of condition, the same thing, because they all could be wind and watertight. I've seen wind and watertights where the doors are broken down. They're hard to open, hard to close. You know, the floor's deteriorated out of it. The shell might be fine, but everything else might be a problem. $3,200. Yeah, it's a good price. $875, kind of a steep number for delivery on there. But if you want to include the 2 numbers, I would say $4,100 is a good price for a 40-foot container. But that's why I asked, how many trips is it to? Because you can go buy a one-way container for a few $1,000s more and have that thing in pristine condition than having this that it's going to be hard to get in and out of all the time.
Can I
Yeah,
answer
yeah,
that?
please,
Okay,
please.
so grade A containers are in top shape and are probably worthy of shipping. He's saying that these are cargo-worthy containers, so I would assume he's claiming that they're grade A, and I don't know. You can ask him. All I did was ask for a bid and try to expedite something that you guys asked for.
I appreciate it. I think grade A is what they call a one-way, which means it goes across the sea once and comes back, and then they end up
one
selling
trip,
it. Yeah. So I would think for this price, you're not getting a grade A. You're not getting a
Well,
one-way.
that's what he said, but I don't know.
I'd like to see if he has a container for $32.54, and then what was the total price? $41.29.
$41.29. That's
Well,
a smoking deal.
if
It's
he
a good container.
yeah, if he has it, then and he's right here local, then I think maybe this should be tabled, and we go look at the containers that he has, if he has one there in person, and then say, okay, yeah, actually that's a really good price, and make the decision there, because this is absolutely needed.
This wasn't put on here as to purchase, so there's really nothing to table. It's discussion and where do you put them.
Discussion and possible action on purchasing and possible location
Right,
of
but-
cargo containers for town use.
We have to do what you're saying, not table it. We need to actually
Says-
give direction and move forward. I don't want to table it. I want to move forward where
Well, I'd
you
like
can
to
go look at it.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to go see it, not go purchase it. So,
Mr. Mayor.
it says possible action on purchasing and possible locations. So instead of just going and buying something and having a grade C or D, I'd say, can we go look at it first and then make sure
He
that
said
it
he
is?
had one in the yard over there.
Well, then, I'm okay, then prevent tabling it, but not delay purchasing it, I would say. Let's delay purchasing until we're able to go visually see and make sure that this is exactly what it's being told.
We can direct staff, and you're welcome to, the number's on there, you can call the guy.
Yeah, I'll call him, I'll go look at it. Encourage everybody else to do the same thing before it's purchased, so.
Okay, Mr. Nolan.
Yeah. Where are we gonna put these? That's, you know.
I'm so, hey, wow, hey, you know what?
$64 question is where are we gonna put them once we buy them? If we buy them,
Put your name down, I didn't, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
we gotta have a place to put them.
Don't be mad at me.
Are we gonna put them where the yard is now and
Oh
then
my
have to
God.
move them again?
No,
Okay,
no.
Ms. Lance.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. As to the answer, and I don't know who had the question of, do we have enough stuff to put in there?
Yeah.
I'm not going to go there, I'm not asking them to answer it. I'm asking Mr. Manager, and if we need to, the clerk, how much do we pay for storage every month for storing our junk? Because we have storage sheds. Shush. Shush. Do we know the cost of our storage sheds? And do we have more than one?
So what you're asking is, how much it costs, you have,
Because
for our
the concern
retention of
here
records,
up here
basically.
was that we don't have anything to put in it, but we're paying every month for storage of records and all kinds of stuff that could go into those type of boxes.
Yeah.
It was $79 a month. Was, I don't know if they've increased recently.
Per shed?
Per month for the storage unit.
So there you go. We're already paying $79 a month for who knows how long per one shed. I don't even know. I think we have more than one, but I don't know for sure.
Some of the records have to be maintained. Other ones you can eventually destroy. We don't own our records. It's the state of Arizona that actually owns them.
Okay.
But we have to
So
take
does the
care
state
of them.
Arizona pay the rent on the storage
No,
shed?
no, no. But the fact is, it has to be stored in an area that doesn't leak and is secure.
When they're watertight.
Watertight.
Don't leak.
Yeah,
They're
watertight is fine. Except then there's another question of who has access to records.
Where to store them.
Yeah,
So
and ultimately, when asked if you can put them on where the public works is, no, it's kind of jammed up now where they have.
Right, we're not going to keep our public works on that property from what I understood the last time we
Well,
talked.
that's what
correct?
I'm hoping. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So once we find a home for them, like we discussed, if everybody is familiar with driving up I-17, you see all the road work, I don't know if you've noticed, they take Connex boxes and they do like a 3-pack, like a U. One in the back and 2 on the sides, and then they put a cover over it. That would be an appropriate place for our public works. Where, I don't know, we'd have to find a spot. But it would give us ample storage for all the stuff that we have in storage sheds and are paying every month on. Stuff enough space to build stuff and keep over the years. But as far as, I have one, sorry, I'm grabbing yours. I don't know if this is a good price or not. I'm not even into that argument. I'm just saying, as a town, we need somewhere to store the stuff that we are building. We have public works that I'm sure there's stuff that they have a shed for, that they probably could use another space for. We have records that could be used, that could be put in there. The biggest thing is the place to start as far as public work goes. So that's all I have.
Mr. Barron.
So the answer to the question is actually on the next agenda item. The place to store the 2 Connex boxes is town owned at 12938 East Main Street. There's a big piece of property there. You slap the 2 Connex boxes there, or 3 or 4 or none. We already own the property. It's not being utilized right now. That's where they sit until we find a better place for more permanent area for them. So we already own the property.
Can I ask you a question? I don't know, and maybe it's not for you even. We would have to have it fenced off and some sort of securing to put our records in. But again, if we're going to be building on your next agenda item, a community center, will we be building a fence to corral that in too?
So I could answer it. Yeah, a fence would be great, but you also have these incredible locks that are basically theft resistant that are designed for Connex boxes that prevent anybody from tampering or getting in with it.
Thank you.
And we pay the sheriff's department to patrol. We just ask them to increase patrols. So.
All right, Denise.
Well, I just wanted to comment that I can't imagine that it would be appropriate to have our documents in the storage with shovels and whatever, all, pop-ups and whatever, because they're legal documents. They have to be more secure. But then part two or whatever, I wanted to comment. I don't know how many storage container guys there are in town. So I don't know if it's these people, but within the last year, we bought 2 20s from a local supplier. This is a heck of a price.
Yeah.
That's why it caught my eye.
And but I see a problem with, we're going to lay these down somewhere and then maybe have to move them again later. We need to figure in the second moving price. And another thing, if it is these guys too, we were really happy with them. They set them up. They were supposed to be level. One of the doors wouldn't open, and it turned out that it was not quite level when they set up. They came back, no problem. Immediately fixed it. I'm not positive that it's these guys. Again, how many guys are there? How many people in town have containers?
Quite a few.
Are there? Okay, well then, I can't speak to these guys, but I can still say that's a heck of a price.
Yeah, hearing what people are saying here, I have a question to you, Bill and Dan. Would be, this isn't quite finalized. Does this even qualify under procurement? I mean, if these guys want to move ahead on it, can we do that?
I've seen none of the background documents, so I can't answer the question. I don't know. I received, so I don't know what the expense is and how we would procure. So that would be a good question to ask.
The way that it would be procured is that we would have to get 3 written quotes. And since there are other people in town, we can get 3 other quotes and do a comparison. So right now, the way it's
We're
procured,
a third of the way there.
Yeah. If it was a bit less, it would be, oral quotes. But this is, what we want to do is get written. If this is cargo worthy, and I bought one and it was $6,700. So that's quite a bit. The prices are dropping, it looks like, if that's the case.
But then, if the direction could be, if they want to proceed, is direct you to accomplish the necessary procurement. There does need to be procurement.
Right.
All right. Ms. Bagwell.
Christy Bagwell, Dewey Humboldt. Can I make a suggestion? We keep talking about where to house Public Works. Have you not seen what they do with storage containers when they turn them into offices and so on and so forth, where you could actually house our poor Public Works people? Also, I wanted to mention, Steve Germain just bought a couple of storage units. What I see with a 40-foot container in one door is trying to pile through to find the stuff that you're looking for. What I would hope in the case of the event committee is we could get, what size are yours, Steve?
16 by 8.
16 by 8. That's the perfect size for us to put stuff in containers and so on. These are insulated. They're not ridiculously heavy to move if they have to be moved. These are things that volunteers have offered to put on their property until such time as the town figures out where. I'm one of those people that volunteered, but I'm not going to put a 40-foot container on my place. I'm okay with 16 by 8 and even a couple of those. But I'm not sure a 40-foot container is applicable to our committee and the type of stuff that we will get. I would like to investigate the boxes that Mr. Germain got. He got 2 of them for $2,000, insulated, fully waterproof, and a reasonable length that we could find stuff in. Just my 2 cents worth. Thank you.
Yep. You can let Mr. Field know afterwards, because you already spoke once. The rules are you can only speak one time. So let Mr. Field know after we're done tonight what you got to say, okay? That way you can give him information so he can research that stuff. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Okay, Ms. Clough.
Lee Clough, Dewey Humboldt. Has anybody gone and looked at any of these yet? The reason I'm asking is because how do we know it only has one door if you haven't looked at it? Sometimes they do have a side door on the ones I've seen. Just food for thought. I mean, I guess we need to look to see if it has one door or several doors or what it has. Thank you.
All right. So I think you got direction to do what you need to do. All right. Yeah.
I think direct council or
Yep.
direct staff that you get 2 more bids.
He already did.
Okay.
Hey, Bill, can you hear me?
I can't. No, I can't.
Okay. I was gonna tell you, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule, and I know that you had some private time right now, and you went out of your way to be here, so I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
May I sign off now?
No, we're not quite done, but we were waiting for the last thing, so I thought I'd jump in there and tell you that.
Mayor, may I sign off, please?
No.
Okay.
9E.
We got one more
Discuss,
item.
discuss and possible
Okay.
action to begin developing the proposed town community center to be located at 12938 East Main Street, Humboldt, and town-owned parcel. Mr. Barron.
So this is just basically a follow-up from originally after we got the test results showing that the property wasn't as bad as originally thought. And I kind of, from the last meeting, it was given that the town manager goes out, gets the property tested, and then we come back with some bids instead of just giving an open-ended view of just moving on with the property. So I've found a couple different options that we can do. I've reached out to a few people. I didn't necessarily get hard bids because I kind of wanted to see where everybody was sitting. But I got two companies. One is out of Phoenix. One is actually out of Chino Valley to do a 40 by 60 steel building with concrete. One company was about $160,000. Another company locally was about $120,000, and that is with insulated walls and all that kind of stuff. I figure that 40 by 60, $160,000. And then one was about $120,000. Both of them have insulated walls, and that includes concrete as well. Huh?
sheet rock over the
No,
insulation?
just like laid in insulated walls, no sheetrock or nothing. I did reach out to a couple of local concrete companies to see if we could do the concrete ourselves and save a few pennies. Getting answers on that was kind of difficult, but I did get one company came back to me. They were a little higher than what the local company could do the concrete for. So at this point in time, I'm like, well, you got a connection. You give the work to this guy. He's probably giving you a smoking deal for the concrete pad. I didn't know you could do a shell kind of building with just that electric and that's it, or we could make it into an area that is a multi-use type of facility with a kitchen, bathroom, all sorts of stuff. Regardless of it, you still have to have a bathroom, whether it's a porta potty or a septic. I looked into what the Historical Society has done, and they didn't have the proper money to put all of it up at one time, so they're doing it in phases. My opinion, I think you're kind of costing yourself a little bit more money by doing it in phases instead of just doing the whole shebang. So I anticipate about $150,000, give or take, probably a little bit more, to just do the shell type of building with electric and a place for people to gather. If we wanted to do the full-on kitchen, now this is with brand new appliances and everything else. There's, I presume you could go out and get discounted items from kitchens and restaurants that are closing and be able to fulfill your kitchen needs a lot cheaper. With a bathroom, all that stuff, you're somewhere in the neighborhood of about $300,000. And the kitchen is roughly about going to cost $100,000 to do. And that's all brand new appliances. So I kind of wanted to get everybody's opinion on which option, if any, was worthy to provide to move forward on this, because this piece of property is pretty much ready to go. Both companies that put the building up, they said that they can't do it until early springtime-ish. And so I think depending on the actual location of it, there's some dirt work that can be done. The septic can be installed. The concrete can be done. And, there's a few things can get the ball rolling in order to make this ready. So when springtime comes, the building go up, and then everything else from there is all downhill. So wanted to bring those prices forth and see where we sit. So,
Mr. Mayor, could I ask a question?
Yes.
Are we constructing a structure on public property?
Yes.
On town property, yes.
yeah, town-owned property, yes.
There's specific statutory requirements that we have to work around that requires strict bidding rules. And Dan, it's Title 34. If you're using your own forces, then we can, and if it's under certain amounts, we don't have to have rigid bill. I think Councilmember Mayor, I do think it's good to get direction as to which to pursue, but you're going to need to probably have to undertake a procurement.
Procurement, you got to have 3 bids, and you got to be sealed, and
No, it's more than that. It's more than that. This is statutory, and we may not have. It depends on the amount. It depends on how much town employees you could use. There's thresholds beyond which you don't have to have a sealed bid, but Title 34 requires strict bidding
6 bids.
for public works.
No, it's not for public work. It's for a community center, Bill.
Public work, that is the definition of a public building. It's called public. Sorry, Title 34 deals with public. It means building a school or building a town hall.
Okay.
I know it's not your town hall Department of Public Works. It's building a public work.
So, Bill, what you're talking about in the procurement process under Title 34 is the bonding requirements and all that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
gauge was the steel?
I did not get that. It was a red, the red iron still inside.
Right.
As far as the exterior, I didn't get a gauge.
What about
on
the
that.
height?
I think it was about 20 foot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Ms.
Let me
Lance?
see if I can get the right number. That might be
I have a
wrong.
couple questions, and I apologize, I was in the bathroom for some of it, but I couldn't wait any longer. Is it going to be insulated as far as the inside, or is it just the shell? Okay,
The
that's part of
inside,
it, okay.
yeah.
And the commercial kitchen would be done so that we could do meals, could have, public, gatherings there type things.
There'd be pretty much no restrictions on what would be allowed. Because
And
it
how many
conformed to
square
health.
feet would it be?
40 by 60.
2,400.
2,400 feet.
So potentially, if we got this done in a reasonably priced and reasonably timed manner, we could hold our public meetings for our EPA stuff and maybe even council meetings there until we got a new town hall. Just, an idea. Thank you.
Mr. Nolan?
Yeah, so we're gonna build a community center before we build town hall.
Yeah, because we don't even have property for town hall yet. We at least own the property for the community center. So, yeah, and town hall is, I would think is going to be quite involved. And you're a couple years down the line to even get a building or a structure on a piece of property that we don't even know where it's at yet. So,
Okay. I think we need a complete bid for the building, insulation, sheetrock, kitchen, parking lot, bathrooms. So I think, it directs the staff to
You got
go out
from
for
Bill's,
something like this.
from Bill's comments to the council's comments, you kind of know where you're going, right?
You're talking about basically doing an RFP and,
All right,
but
yep,
putting together the whole package.
yep.
It might be a solicitation for bids. You and I need to look at it, see what the cost is, and see how many town forces you could use.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Finn?
Is that something that Mr. Barron can work on and help obtain such bids?
Yes, yes, yes.
I already did that. I got 2 bids.
We just need a third one.
No,
6.
Oh, 6, I'm sorry.
no, yeah. What you have to do is you actually have to go out to bid. Question's gonna be if it's gonna be competitive, sealed bid or not a sealed bid. If we can go ahead and buy off of collaborated procurement, I mean, there's different things that we can look at and I can talk to Bill about.
Okay.
But if someone's gonna put it up, they have certain bonding requirements.
So it's not really something that we can work on it and it doesn't work that way. Not like the containers are easy. We get 3 bids and it's good to go. This is more in depth.
This is more in depth.
So we can't really do a lot.
Councilmember Finn, because the containers are personal property, it's not covered by Title 34. Title 34 in the Arizona statutes is called the Public Works Statute, and it requires strict bidding, bonding, and notice requirements. But there's ways to work around it depending on the amount to be expended and depending if you're going to use town forces.
All right. Are we good with the direction that the town manager has now?
Oh, yeah, except for the fact that this was done back in May, I think. So why wasn't this problem brought up back then? Here we are, as far as the hoops you got to jump through. I mean, all these sealed bids and all that kind of stuff. It was I could spend the time, pull it up right now, to sit there and say that, bring back a price, testing and all that kind of stuff of how much we're actually spending. So here we are in May, what are we, 5 months later? And now we're back to the drawing board again? I mean, this is
Maybe not.
the shit
Maybe
that
not.
just pisses people off of nothing getting done. You just bury stuff down the rabbit hole, kick the can down the road, delay. Why we sit here and we wonder why another town, why another city is just steamrolling our asses every single step of the way, making us look like fools when we do it to our damn selves.
You're not doing it to yourselves.
This
It's
should have
just-
been brought up back then,
it's
of the hoops that we needed to jump through.
Well, the fact is that if you're going to build a metal building, what we're talking about here, and Bill is saying there's ways around some of this. But again, anytime you build a building that's going to have the public come in, it's not as simple as just putting up a building. And that's what he's saying.
The whole idea, the whole purpose, this is not the first time this CARF has been brought before. So my question is, why wasn't this brought up back in May to sit there and have this done? These hoops that we have to jump through, why weren't these steps addressed back then when this was brought up and voted on to proceed and get exactly what we're asking for?
I guess the best way to answer that is you can't cut corners on these things. And the fact is that you did it back in May, but you just don't go, it's going to be up. It doesn't happen that way.
Nobody's cut corners. It was asked to
get some idea of what it's going to cost so that we can get direction. But still, you have to go and you have to comply with procurement. We had the auditors in today, and that's what they look at to do procurement. Now, there may be ways we can get around some of the issues to make it speed up. But again, if we can find out if other places have bought a building recently, that will be fine. But you can't, again, it's the same sort of thing in any of the procurements we do. You should hear when we go and we do construction on the roadways, you have to go through a process.
So where was the process when you were going to buy a dump truck and you only had one dump truck in front of you?
The process was there. The process was, it was used equipment. You bring it before you guys and you get permission to go ahead and buy a used one.
Okay.
The answer is the dump truck. The reason I asked you, Councilmember Barron, what you were doing, were you building a structure on a public property? Is it distinguishes it from the dump truck? But now that you've got these rough estimates, we can figure out ways around it. I was aware you were looking into this. I had no idea what you wanted to do. I've now heard tonight what you want to do. We have some rough estimates, and we'll try to figure out a way to streamline the procurement.
Can I open it up to citizens now?
Yeah.
After you, Ms. Lance?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. And I'm trying to make it a little bit easier to understand here. I think that Mr. Barron is frustrated, correct me if I'm wrong, that the pure procurement process, he thought because we gave you direction, it should have been done or been being worked on since May to now. And that's where his frustration may be coming from, because we all knew that we wanted to build a community center. We all voted yes, let's do it. Let's see, what do we have to do? What, and then when it comes through and it's on the agenda, nothing. And that's where the frustration is. And it happens a lot with a lot of it.
And if I may address that, when you have a decision made to go and build something, you have a whole process that you have to look at past that. But first of all, you need to have an idea of what you want to build. We knew we wanted a community center, but then is it going to be insulated inside? And Councilmember Barron did indicate what he found out, but it's sort of like what Councilmember Nolan said. He said, insulated, make sure that we put in a kitchen, make sure we do all that.
Right. And when we talked about it in May, I we talked about a commercial kitchen because we wanted to be able to
Have a whole
serve food.
process that you have to look at past that. But first of all, you
Try your voice now.
Oh, wait.
and I'm not even moving
So-
my mouth.
We talked about a commercial kitchen, we talked about it being insulated, and we also talked about having bathrooms inside instead of porta johns, ADA approved.
Have to be.
And that's what we talked about in May. So
I don't think we went into it in that type of detail. I think that we went into it in that type of detail
Okay.
thereafter. But I don't recall in that much detail. I recall that we would get a building and put it up. Now, if what I'm hearing tonight is start and make sure we do the RFP and comply, and I have to work with Bill on that. So, does it stall it? It's not stalling it. The fact is, we needed to find out, first of all, if the property was contaminated or not.
Right.
We know
So-
where it is.
Now, given the fact that we've gotten the property tested, we now are coming to a conclusion that this is what, we need the procurement stuff, we need all that. What is the estimated time to bring it back to us?
Probably 7 months.
Stop.
Well, am I going to be helped with it or not?
I will be willing to help with that, what I can. I don't think I can help much because I don't do buildings and I don't do that kind of stuff, but if you need help, call me.
Okay, and I will. Again, these are things that we don't have people that can procure. And,
Where would we find someone to procure? I can't even
oh,
say the word. Procure.
well, if we have a bid that we ever went out on before, it's a good place to start. And from what I have seen, I haven't seen anything here that has been built. And so what we need to do is, we have the Historical Society background. We have we can ask Prescott Valley if they have something similar.
And
Mayor.
It would have had to have been built already, or just plans, or what?
Just an RFP,
What's
a
the-
request for proposal.
Because at one time, they were trying to cram a whole town hall on that small property. Would that be part of your procurement or?
Well,
RFP?
that has some of the information on it.
There you go. That's a good
Yeah.
place to start then, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because we've already paid for it. Thank you.
Mr. Finn.
It was answered. It was about the testing and making sure that was what we were waiting on, and it's done.
Mr. Barron.
So I've offered my services multiple times on multiple different things. It's yet to been taken up, but the offer stands. You want help, you call me, you ask me, and I'll help. I'll drop everything, okay? Except for my kids and my wife.
Right.
I will be here, okay? You just got to ask, and I'll make sure my ass is here.
Okay, and I accept that. And I do thank you for getting those numbers because we needed to know the ballpark. And now we know the ballpark. And that way we can go ahead and I'll talk to Bill about it, but there's ways we can restrict the amount that someone can bid on it as well, so.
All right. Mrs. Bagwell, you've had your hand up. Come on up.
For what? For everything?
Bagwell, Dewey,
Yeah,
Humboldt.
but that was before.
I'm pretty sure we have a building department that's probably pretty aware of things like that, that could probably do a lot of input as far as what would be required to be in this RFP to get it out. I would suggest we utilize some of the fresh out of school people that we have and see just how good they are. Thank you.
In fact, Mayor, Robert Davis has volunteered to assist us as well.
Okay. All right. I seen a hand. Come on up. Come on, Miss Field. And then you, Karen. You're next. I was just watching them go up. I was doing them in order.
Kathy Field, Dewey. Now you can all hate me, but
I want to refer to the survey that was done, because that represented 4,000 people that were the constituents. They did not want a community center. So we're talking about doing this, but we might want to consider before we proceed beyond just getting the basic facts. When you're talking about adding a kitchen and all that, you're talking about a commercial building that the public can come into. That means it's not looking secondhand, finding things. You've got to have like an Ansel hood. You've got to have commercial dishwasher, commercial refrigerator, commercial this. That is not cheap. So those are the 2 points. One is, remember that this is a commercial building. And second, to look to what the survey said they wanted. And we have Public Works and a town hall that we haven't gotten yet, but that would be elevating the community center before we did Public Works or a town hall.
Ms. Brooks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. I've done procurement for 25 years, and it's not that hard. First off, you've got to decide, okay, we want a building. We've got this size lot. We want this much paved. We need a septic. We need electricity. We need bathrooms. We need to come ADA compliant. We have to have a kitchen and stuff like this. It's not that hard. You start picking up the phone and calling. You don't need to know what Joe Blow down the street's been doing or anything. You know, try Google. You know, it's amazing. They have a thing or two there that'll tell you metal buildings, insulated buildings, cement flooring, how much weight and how thick that cement flooring needs to be, you know, to prevent cracks or anything, because we are in a seismic area. So, I mean, it does not take that much time. But as Mr. Fields has said in the past, give him a time limit. Well, I propose no more than 30 days to 42 days, 4 to 6 weeks. Let's get it done. I agree with Mr. Behrens, and I can feel his frustration. I've been coming to these meetings for not quite 20 years or whatever, forever. And this of just putting things off and letting things drop through the cracks and everything, this is another point that we need a sheet on our agenda every meeting that tells us what items have been tabled. Where's our time limit on them and everything? Because then they don't, at least they're in front of the public notice. And I think that, like, instead of Mr. Finn's one-page sheet that some people got, I think there should have been enough sheets. I'm not asking for an amended agenda, but they could have been handed out to the public that bothers to come to the meetings. But I think all the information should be handed out to the public to see what we need. But if you want to do priorities and everything, you know, there's a lot of difference. And the guys in the building department or in Public Works are at the absolute Public Works area is their very limited time. Thank you very much.
Ms. Brandt.
Sue Brandt Humboldt, and the survey question was not about a community center, it was about a town hall. And they excuse me?
Was about a town center and town hall.
Yeah, but not a community center. It was about the town hall, I believe. So we need to look into that, check into that. And man, I feel your pain. I'm right there with you.
Yes, Mr. Kip, come on.
Mr. Kip?
Kip Grant, Humboldt, Mayor, Council. I got 45 years in construction, commercial the first thing you need to do, you have a footprint 40 by 60. That's what you're after. I'm not sure why it's 20 foot tall, but maybe there's some, maybe there's some tall people going to hang out in there. I don't know. You got to start with an architect. You need a design. You need a set of plans. You can't bid plumbing fixtures, interior framing, kitchen equipment. You can't figure electrical prices. You can't do anything without a set of plans. If you want bids, you got to have plans.
That's the first thing they'll ask.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to get everybody looking at the same thing if you want competitive bids.
Right.
And with 45 years experience in this business, if you need a hand with anything,
Yeah, would you?
I'd be more than happy to help you. I just put up a 40 by 50 myself. I could do that concrete and put that shell up in a month, just so you know. Thank you.
30 days.
I'm expensive.
Yes.
I saw him point, but I didn't want to.
I said, Ms. Clough.
Oh, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. Lee Clough, Dewey Humboldt. So the question on the survey was about a town center and a new town hall, not a community center. So I think if you want to send that out, do you want to have the same problem again next July 1st that we had this year? We didn't have a commercial kitchen. We had a mess. Yeah, we can have, what are those trucks called? Food trucks. But then it's not going to be a free event for our community. That's going to cost them. So that's great to have them, but we still need to have the food like we did last time. If people want to buy other food, great. But we need to do something if that's what we're doing. So I'm excited that it's being brought back up. I've heard lots of offers that will help get the bids out there or get the bids that you need. Maybe Mr. Brandt would be nice enough to tell us exactly how much it would cost since he already just experienced it, you know, put a bid in. We want to bring the community together. How do you propose that? And you can see more and more people keep coming to the meetings. We need something bigger. And I did like Ms. Lance, Councilmember Lance's idea of town hall there where we're not so cramped. And there's a lot of things you can do there. And I think that would be good, you know, that we could help. Maybe we could even feed the veterans on Veterans Day if we had a commercial building. I think all those things are important. There's a lot of things we can do if we had that. So I just hope that you take this serious and it's something that you really want to do. And I mean, we've had our first town event. Let's not say it was our first and last. Let's move it forward. Let's keep on having a bunch of people. So, and I understand Councilmember Barron's frustration. Believe me, he likes to get things done right now, and he doesn't wait. Even when the mud sinks his equipment, he doesn't wait. He likes to get out there and try it. So can we keep moving on this, like maybe in a month, hear what we've done? I mean, at least in a month, come back and tell us where we're at. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, seeing none. Mr. Barron.
Oh, with the few people that just came up, a couple of things rose up, but one of the biggest ones is if you build it, they will come. Okay, it will be utilized in any fashion that we allow and decide to make it beneficial for the town. This is not an insult to the people. This is an insult to council and past councils. The people of this town are poorly educated on what is and what is not part of this town, whether it be roads, whether it be properties, whatever it may be. People need to understand and know where boundaries are, what is and what isn't, and they're not. And that is poorly done by this and past councils. As far as the commercial kitchens, I understand it needs to be a commercial kitchen. In order to comply and adapt to the health department, you can't do a homemade kitchen. That's why I said maybe you can go look at restaurants closing and see about discounted items. Yeah, I said that the kitchen's going to be about $100,000. That's a huge portion of it. But if you can find restaurants closing, I know Lucky's, and I asked this a long time ago, and it seems like everything just goes nowhere. But I asked a long time ago because I know the owner of Lucky's, and he's got a whole kitchen of stuff that he's selling massively discounted. Massively discounted. I don't know if it's still available or not, but there is a lot of other opportunities and options like that that we could get our hands on. A restaurant closes down, something else is coming in there, all that stuff needs to go somewhere. Still viable, it's still good. The health department okays it. Why would we not be able to implement it into a building at a cost savings? A set of plans, yep, you're absolutely right. Two of the people that I spoke with that actually put them up, they have set plans and set everything, PDF files and all that they can just send right over. As far as interior stuff, the explanation I got was they don't do too much of it. They can, but it comes at an added cost. They're more of a structure, outside structure type of thing. You could probably get a lot cheaper price from people that could build something on the inside, not from them, but from another source, and at a cost savings. So the set of plans should come from the companies. Like I said, there's one that's 25 minutes away, right there in Chino Valley. They're bread and butter, and they were the cheapest ones that I found. And red steel, everything. So, and then, yeah, understandably right. Why keep pissing money away on rent and having the public works in a property that is not feasible? It's a problemed area, but begs the question. If that's more important, have we even started looking at properties and discussing with people to move and design and have a town hall center complex, whatever, built to accommodate all sorts of stuff? Families, not have to utilize the school and the district and go through those hoops, but have our own whole idea in one center? Have we even talked or looked at properties? Mm-hmm. Have we even looked and talked about where's property for the public works to get out of? If it's such a dire need, it's not on here. It's not. I think I got last week's agenda too. Wasn't on last week's agenda. Wasn't on the weeks before's agenda. Guaranteed it's not going to be on the following meeting's agenda. Why? If it's such a dire need to get the public works out of that area, that needs to become priority one, all for it. Then let's put the community center on hold for a minute, and let's put the public works up to the front of the line. But it's not. I had to ask for an amended agenda just to get this talked about after talking about it and making a comment about it twice in two different sections. So if those are such important items, why are they not being discussed? Why are they not on the agenda?
Because the first thing you have to do is find a location. And what we have here is we have property, and we have identified certain locations. But the fact is, the price of property is very expensive here. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, the good thing coming out of this is if we can build that building, that's the same type of building you need for public works. You probably need a little bit bigger than that, but to store their stuff and work on things inside. But again, the cost is going to be land. And do you want me to bring it back? I'll bring it back with land costs and what we're looking at. But again, tell me which you want first. Yeah, well, I know all of it, but that's been around here since 20 years ago.
It's steps and steps along the way. Like we've discussed, we even went to an executive session about finding a town hall property, and we pinpointed a town hall property. And I understand there's, you got to do this and you got to do that and you got to do that and you got to do that in order to get to the final end result. But, this is the problem with government bureaucracy BS. Mm-hmm. Is you can cut through some of this crap sometimes, if you want to. And if there's a will, there's a way. And we just had a president that cut through a bunch of BS and he went against the grain, and we all see how that's working out for him. But do we constantly want to be the same old lollygagging around and, oh, you got to go through this tape and that tape and blah, 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 or sit there and find our own path and create our own situations? It's possible if we choose to have it, if we're dedicated to it. And there's no sense of at least not talking and trying to propose some sort of interest to these people and say, look, we don't even have a dollar amount. If they're like, hey, you know what? I got a dollar amount of a property right down the road, right next to Butte Street Park. I guarantee everybody in here is going to go poof over it. But I have a dollar amount. I got a dollar amount. That's all we need is a dollar amount, and to come back and say, yes, you know what? $30 million for this piece of property is absurd. Let's go find somewhere else and highlight somewhere else. We don't even have that. We don't even have somewhere for Public Works. If Public Works is so dire, that piece of property is not being used. It's fine. Move them to that then. Get them out of that bottom spot that they're at. Put them there temporarily until you can actually find a more suitable location for them. I mean, there's options, but you're not even trying to find the option here. Or if they're going to stay there and find their own place, then let's go find a piece of property. What's feasible? What's around the area for us to be able to get to benefit them, or what we originally talked about was one property, a combination of everybody. That's still on hold. It's not even being discussed. It's not even being brought up. We don't even have a dollar amount of what the people want on there other than nothing. Where's the dollar amount?
All right, Ms. Lance.
Where's the talks?
So just to clarify, Lee said at town hall, that piece of property is not big enough for a town hall. It's big enough for a community center. It's big enough for Public Works, maybe even both of those, but not a town hall. Because you don't have parking, you don't have all kinds of different stuff that will happen.
Mm-hmm.
I know that we don't, people don't realize because they don't come to the meetings. When it's something that everybody cares about, there is no room in this building. People have to stand outside. So we do need a community center. People just don't realize it because they're so sick of coming to these council meetings that they don't come anymore. But back to the community, excuse me, I didn't catch that.
Because nothing gets done.
Back to the community center, if we can get even just a little bit down the road within about 30 to 45 days, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Mr. Finn.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to name properties outside of an E-session, but you had mentioned that. There's this super fun thing coming up that we have an opportunity there for a big center. So I don't know if we really want to look for a large parcel until we figure out what's going to happen with that. How would somebody suggest that we start naming properties? I can think of a lot of vacant properties and even some properties that have structures on them that would benefit us. What do we do?
We're getting off topic right now because this is a discussion. Hey, this is a discussion on the community center located on East Main Street. So we're getting too broad. Bill's gone, so we got to narrow it back up, and we got to.
Mayor, I'm here. Okay. I'm here, and you're going far beyond the agenda. We need to bring.
So I'm correct, right?
Yes.
So we got direction. If everybody's good with direction to Mr. Bill, I got you, Barron. Then we'll answer Mr. Barron. Go ahead.
My resolution is get something for the people now, that the demand is now, not years and years and years down the road. Okay. And, not getting crazy off topic, but that's 5+ years down the road. Just like with other items or several years down the road. This community center, it's achievable now. There's a need for it now. So let's utilize it and let's make something happen now. And we have the property, we have ideas, we have easily a design, we have a company in the backyard that can help us. see fit however that thing helps. And I hope you reach out to me and I can help wherever I can. And Robert, me and you, we can jump on board together and knock this thing out and get it moved and not take another 5 months to get this happening. Okay. If these companies can do something in springtime, then we need to get talking about it now, because otherwise, if we wait until January, then they're going, we'll see you in August. We'll see you in December. It's going to keep going and going. And next thing you know, now we are 2 years down the line for something that is easily achievable in 6 months. That could benefit the community very, very greatly. So whatever it is, yeah, direction, move on. Let's get a more solid idea, solid bids to make this happen. But let's not drag our asses anymore on this and start getting something done. We already lost 5 months. Let's not waste the next 5 and actually doing something for this community for once, continuously.
All right, Mr. Fields, you got direction?
Yes.
You got a time frame?
Yes.
Okay. Seeing that, we'll move on to item.
Tom's got his arm up. Is he allowed to?
Oh, yes, come on up, Mr.
Millette?
I'm just coming up with an idea that why, instead of doing a 40 by 60, why don't we do a 40 by 120 and split it for Public Works and a community center?
That's not a bad idea.
Kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah.
Are you willing to meet with Mr. Barron and Robert and work on it?
Yep.
Mr. Manager?
Yes. Yes.
Take note of that, because they're willing to do it.
Yeah. It's
And Kip?
it's not any harder to make it bigger.
Yeah, there's plenty of room there too.
Yeah.
So, absolutely.
All right. We'll move on to item 10. There is none. Item 11, we're going to adjourn, and it is 8:55.
Yeah, there's a lot of room. There's